everybody, and welcome back to Frankie's Got. I don't want to laugh. I've got the giggles today. Can't stop laughing. I'm just smiling. I'm just happy. I'm just smiling. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Frankie's Aquatics right here on the wonderful platform that is YouTube. Now, I hope you've all had a marvellous week and I hope everybody is safe and well. I want to first off start by saying a massive thank you to everybody who really took well to last week's video. I had numerous messages from many people all around the globe that were willing to step up and report animal cruelty on TikTok. And we may not have been heard yet. As of right now, again, as this video is being recorded, unfortunately, the culprit is still active. His account's not yet affected, and the videos that we all complained about are still available for everybody to watch. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to give up just yet. I'm going to continue the fight, and I am going to make sure that TikTok at least give us some sort of relevance or back up their claims that this is accepted and not breaking any rules, because I think enough of us disagree with that. Because this is animal abuse, and I will not settle until I get an official word from, not from an automated service, but from somebody of a higher authority that's involved with TikTok to explain their corner. Because we don't agree with it, and we're not going to sit back and just take it anymore. That's the end of that. So thank you all for stepping up, basically. Thank you all for stepping up and deciding that TikTok is not the way. And this animal abuse should definitely not be accepted on any platform, never mind TikTok, whatever it might be. It's not acceptable and we won't stand for it. It's that simple. So thank you very much. You guys are pretty awesome. You are. I say it all the time, but it's true. You guys are awesome. This week's video is going to be one I'm actually really looking forward to. It's going to be axolotl types, what types of axolotls there are. Axolotls. What type of axolotls you have. Make a cat two. Care. Make a cat two. So we're going to look at some of the more common axolotls that are available in the hobby, and we're going to talk a little bit about them, what differentiates them. Is that even a word? Differentiates. What differentiates? Yeah, that one. That word. Yeah, that one. And I'm also going to let you all know what my favourite type is, and I think some of you might be surprised at what my favourite type actually is. I do have a favourite type of axolotl. I posted up on my Instagram story and asked you guys to get involved and send photos that you're happy to hopefully have featured in this week's video. Your axolotl pictures, not just you sat on a balcony with a glass of champagne on about your axolotls. Although that would be quite cool too, just seeing your hair. Hey! And my goodness, did you listen? I woke up the following morning to nearly 500 messages on Instagram alone. And I don't believe I even posted this on Facebook. Now, I have to talk to you about Facebook. I'm having a few technical difficulties with the platform. For the past 5 days now, the platform, it might as well be flat, it's useless. The platform has been broken. I can't seem to access my inbox. I can't seem to load any kind of new comments. I don't know if Facebook's having a problem. I just don't know what's going on, and I'm finding it really impossible to kind of keep up. So if you are one of the few that have messaged me, I say the few, there's quite a lot of you. If you are one of the ones that have contacted me on Facebook and you haven't got a reply, or you see that I've read your message and I haven't replied, it's because I can't get into my inbox. So the best way to do it is either contact me by email or reach out to me on Instagram, and I will get back to you in due course. So don't think I'm ignoring you. I love you all too much to be ignoring you, but just to give you the heads up of what's going on. I'd also like to give a massive shout out to my patrons and my new patrons that have joined this week. Now, I need a little bit of advice. I see some people call Patreons and patrons, and what is the term? What do you like to be called? I call everyone in there my friends, but what's the real term here? I know it's called Patreon, but do we call them patrons? Patreon? I don't know what it is. Just help me, will ya? I'm a basic Englishman. I don't know these words. Just explain it to me in simple terms. But as always, a big shout out to my patrons, new and old, and here we go. Let's give them a shout out in 3, 2, 1. Thank you all for joining the Patreon. I think you're all amazing, and thank you so much for your support. So you guys are helping to contribute towards Frankie's Aquatics outhouse. So the as we know it, I'm kind of nicking every little spare corner in this house. But in time, the 3-year plan I've got, hopefully this will all be in a property that's in the back end of my property. So it's gonna be cool. The missus is gonna hate me because I'm gonna steal the whole garden, but it's gonna be beautiful, and it's thanks to you guys that it's kind of happening. So thank you. So without further ado, let's jump into this week's video, which is looking at different types of axolotls. So without further ado, let's go. Come on, let's do it. So there are 5 basic colours of axolotl. This includes the wild type, the cystic type, the white albino, the golden albino and the melanoid type. So in this video we're going to be talking about the 5 more basic colours and discussing what makes them different. Firstly, we're going to look at the wild type axolotl, and yes, believe it or not, this might surprise some of you, but the wild type axolotl is actually my favourite type of axolotl. Now I know everybody says, but Pixel's your favourite, and absolutely she is. But when it comes down to morph or type, I do prefer the wild types, purely because there's so much variation in this type. I feel that they sadly get overlooked in the hobby because they're classed as normal, nothing too exciting, and I think they're absolutely stunning. I mean, look at the little faces. I mean, a wild type axolotl, if you see a smile from one of them, it literally melts your heart. But what is it that distinguishes that an axolotl is actually classed as a wild type? So the most common colours are blacks, greens and greys, and almost an olive colouring which sometimes gets mistaken for copper. They can also have golden or white iridescent freckles and speckles over their body, which makes them even more attractive on the eye. They have black eyes which usually have a gold or shiny ring around them that distinguishes them as the wild type axolotl. But let's all agree on something: how absolutely adorable is the wild type axolotl. I swear these little guys steal my heart, and that little derpy smile is just something that you can't quite replicate. Swiftly moving on, we're going to look at the leucistic type axolotl, or should I say the pink ones. When anybody contacts me looking for a leucistic type, I often get asked that, have you got any of them pink ones left? Everyone seems to refer to them as the pink ones. And of course my beautiful water sausage, Pixel the very happy axolotl, is indeed a leucistic type. Now how do we distinguish what a leucistic type axolotl is? Let's have a look. So the body of the leucistic type is very light or a pale pink in coloration. They have very dark black or brown eyes, which is often a trait that sets them apart from distinguishing them differently compared to the white albino axolotl. Their gills are usually pink in coloration, if not a shade of red, and sometimes even have a cheeky splash of purple, which is something which really makes them absolutely stand out and makes them incredible on the eye. The leucistic type will often develop freckles, which will give them the name Dirty Lucies. It just represents that the freckles on their face are very distinctive, almost like a freckly faced child, which to me just adds to the absolute adorableness of the leucistic type. Now these freckles and speckles are not exclusively going to stay on the face, they can sometimes run down the body of the axolotl too, again just adding to their absolutely cuteness. And let's be honest, who doesn't love that smile? The next type we're going to look at is the melanoid type axolotl, which often gets mistaken as a dark wild due to its coloration. But on closer inspection they do have some very key differences which will tell the two apart, so let's go and look at those. These types have an increased amount of pigment in their skin, which will make them appear very dark in coloration, usually a shade of brown and sometimes black, which will cover their entire body. The melanoid also lack any iridescent or shiny freckles which appear on their skin, which is their biggest factor in separating them from their wild siblings. These types also have one very distinctive feature: they have full black eyes, without the copper or shiny circle that usually appears in the wild types and other types. And it's often those big beautiful marble-like black eyes that make people fall in love with the melanoid type axolotl. Now let's take a closer look at the white albino axolotl. What an absolute beauty these are. They are very comparable to the leucistic because they do resemble them very much in colour, but they lack pigmentation in their skin, which makes them white. They have a very distinctive white body which will have no freckles or speckles. Their eyes appear clear, sometimes invisible, and also have red centres because they lack the natural pigmentation. The only true splash of colour that you're going to find in a white albino is within their gills, which are often a deep colour of red, and also their nice red eyes. Some people say it looks a little bit freaky, I say it looks absolutely adorable. Now alongside the white albino you can also find the golden albino, which is pretty special indeed. Instead of their brothers and sisters that appear white, these guys will appear golden. The golden types will also have very clear eyes because again they're albino. Their bodies are often golden, hence the name, and they will have white freckles and speckles, which usually glitters under the right sort of light. Their gills are quite remarkable, usually a nice shade of pink, sometimes red, which gives them a lot of personality and character in their appearance. Now, there are a whole host of different types of axolotls outside of these that we've spoken about today, but we're going to save them for another video. So now I switch the camera over onto you guys and ask, What's your favourite type axolotl and why? Do let us know in the comments below. And that pretty much sums up this week's video, but before we go, do let me know in the comments below what your favourite type of axolotl is. If you've got a favourite, people tend to lean towards the leucisticus, which is kind of understandable because they're so animated and cute and the gills are so pink and fluffy and beautiful and squeeze them. What is your favourite type of axolotl? Like I said, mine has to be the wild type. I think they're so overlooked in the hobby because they're the norm and they're common and they're everywhere. People tend to overlook their beauty, and there's so many different variants of the wild type, which just makes them completely unique in their own stamp. They're absolutely stunning. I love them because some of them have really nice speckles, some of them don't. Some of them appear almost black until you put a bit of a light on them and you can see all different patterns and stuff. Some of them are really dark on the top and really light on the bottom. They're just so beautiful. But let's be honest, none of us are wrong. All axolotls are beautiful. There's no wrong or right answers here, but do let me know in the comments below what your favourite type axolotl is and why, and I'll be sure to get back to you all in the comments section. And I might even pin my favourite. I might even pin you to the top in the most less brutal way possible. I don't mean with a staple. That's just horrific. I mean, I'll pin your comment to the top. If you see your axolotl in the video, let me know in the comments at what timestamp your axolotl was on there. Thank you all so much for stopping by and checking out this week's video. Now, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to hit that like button. It just lets me know that you enjoy the content that I'm producing. Also hit the subscribe button and also ding that notification bell. And until next time, ta-ta for now. Woohoo! This is called a social distancing group hug. You're all here. You're all in my bosom. Okay, that was probably the wrong word to use, the bosom. Although I am packing quite a bit of nip.